unfortunately, a lot of times people do look into really getting serious or wanting to look into manifestation techniques because we are under the constraints of time. Because we do live in a 3D world, we do have deadlines, we have things that are due, we have calendar dates, we have things that, do press us for time. Hey you guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, whichever side of the screen that I have it on, as well as the bell, so that anytime any new content is uploaded, you are going to be the first to know about it, you guys. But I really wanted to talk about how important it is just to be able to detach, which, as we know, easier said than done. That's why I'm actually going to give you guys 3 really powerful techniques that you're able to utilize just to kind of detach from time when it comes to your manifestations, right? Which is so important, right? You actually do need to be able to detach from that in order for those manifestations to take root and to actually sprout. But again, unfortunately, a lot of times people do look into really getting serious or wanting to look into manifestation techniques, practices, because we are under the constraints of time. Because we do live in a 3D world, we do have deadlines, we have things that are due, we have, calendar dates, we have things that, do press us for time. But with manifestation does not give you what you want. It gives you what you identify as, right? What you assume, what your certainty is, your belief, your alignment. That is what the universe delivers to you. So when you're in a state of I need, I want, right? If someone were to walk up to you randomly and just say, I need this or I want that, you may not know that person at all, but you do know what they lack, right? Because they don't have this, they need that, they want that. And when you have that need, that want, right? And you're so flustered, you're so grabby for that manifestation, the universe, you're unconsciously identifying with the version of yourself that does not have it. And that's what you're going to get more of, more lack. You're waiting, you're going to get more waiting. Okay. You're in lack. You're going to, you will continue to be in that state of lack. So this is why it's so important, where I always think of manifestation as being kind of like a dance, right? Where it can desire a manifestation enough where you do the work to be in alignment with it as much as possible. Okay. That means that when you find yourself making decisions or acting in a place that is in that lack, unconscious mindset, or you're not from a place of abundance, but that version of yourself that doesn't have it, opposite of what you want, then you do the work to realign. However, with manifestation, you still want to be loose enough, want to be detached enough where even if it does not happen tomorrow, or it doesn't happen the next day or the next day, you are detached enough where you know that it's inevitable. Okay, your success of that manifestation, and all of our manifestations are going to look very different, right? And I've talked about this on different videos. For some, it could be success, career success. Someone else, it could be getting into a university. It could be weight loss, right? It could be a creative project taking off. It could be moving to a different state or country. It's many different things, right? It could be a romantic relationship. But when you are able to detach from the need for today, tomorrow, the next day, right? And it's more of just a feeling, right? You get more wrapped into the feeling of already having it. Then that's when you are, I would say, successfully kind of doing that dance, right? So it's really important that you guys remember that the 3D, what we have around us, it's not the creator. The 4D, which is imagination, right? Because any and everything that you have around you first started in as a concept, someone's thought, right? Even from the sofa, right? That's behind me, the sectional that's behind me started as a concept, as a thought, right? And then someone brought that down from the 4D, they brought it down into the 3D. Maybe they sketched it out first and they got all the materials and they built it. Okay, so it went from real time, the concept of it, to it being brought down into physical form, physical shape. So again, like I say, 3D is more of like the denser, which is what we live in, right? But it's the more denser, slower, heavier dimension of the 5, right? And I've heard there's, more six and beyond dimensions, but it is definitely one of the slower, more dense dimensions, obviously, to live in. A lot of the times people really get serious, or maybe they're trying manifestation practices for the first time because they really need something to happen by a certain date. On a certain deadline, and things can happen by a certain date on a certain deadline without a doubt, but it's just less likely, and not so much because not that the universe can't pull it off, but it's less likely because you are so attached to needing it to happen by that given date that you are repelling it, right? It makes you too eager. It makes you too anxious about that date that it doesn't allow you to do what's needed for it to happen by that date, which is just to relax, chill out, be calm, be cool, try to be as aligned, right, with the version of yourself that manifestation done, knocked out of the ballpark type of deal, right? It's harder to be in that mindset when you are like needing something to happen by a certain date time, okay? When we are constantly checking, right, we're continuously checking our phone, we're checking the emails, we're checking for results, we're checking for this, that. Not only are we affirming to the universe that we're in a state of lack, and like we already discussed, you get more of what you are, whatever your present state is. So if you are, someone who doesn't have it, you get more of it. But if you are someone who, you believe that, yeah, I am the one who gets picked. I am the one who's chosen. I am the one that gets the job. I am the one who's lucky. I am the one that everything works out for. When you align and you identify with that, then the universe, okay, let's produce more circumstances within this person's bubble that reinforce this person's belief, okay? Whereas if you are in that anxious, eager, stressed out state of I need, I want, you lack, okay, well, the universe, same deal. Is like, okay, well, more circumstances that reinforce that you don't have it, okay? Or you're not the one that things work out for, or, so like I say, with manifestation, detachment is so important. I'm going to give you guys 3 actually very important techniques that you guys can actually put into practice to help you detach from, that manifestation desired outcome and just kind of flow. And again, like I say, just as an example, when you are manifesting, you're ultimately planting seeds, right? You're planting seeds into the soil that will take root, and they'll sprout and they'll grow. And, I don't know where you guys are at, but where I'm at, it's springtime, and usually from, winter to spring, it's like 1 minute trees are bare, and then next minute you look up and everything is sprouted, and you're like, whoa, where did they even, where did the leaves even come from? 1 minute, everything's barren, no signs of any new life, and the next minute trees are flourishing and beautiful, and so it's the same way with your manifestations. And because manifestation is something that's natural, it desires, it needs there to be a flow, right? So when you're holding and you're clenching so tightly, right, let's just say even if it's a seed, right, and you're clenching so tightly to it, think of your hand as almost being like cement. It doesn't mean that, right? Because sometimes things can sprout from cement, but it would require for there to be cracks in the cement in order to even give the plant an opportunity to sprout and be seen on the outside, right? It would have to be literally a crack in the road. But if your hand is so tight like cement, how can that plant flourish, right? How can that manifestation, that desire, how can it take root and flourish? It can't, because you're so like attached to like, I need, I want. But when you can loosen up that grip, open up that hand, and allow, right, what happens then? All of a sudden things start to take root, things start to sprout up, and it's like, whoa, where did that come from? And that's because you were able to detach a bit. So, like I say, it's a dance, right? Being committed, or I'm not going to use the word attached to a manifestation, but be committed enough to it to do the work, to as much as you can, to stay in alignment. Don't beat yourself up, because if you notice that you are out of alignment with your manifestation, you just gently and positively try to redirect your energy in a way, and your thoughts, right? Bring yourself back to the version of, okay, well, the version of me that has the manifestation already, would they be stressing out about XYZ? Would they be doing, speaking in this way, thinking like this, or feeling this way? No. Okay, when you are self-aware in that way, then you allow yourself to be realigned. A farmer or even a gardener, right, is not going to continuously check the soil every single day. They may water, right? They may water the soil if it needs it, so that those plants can take root and flourish. You watering the soil would be you staying in alignment, okay? But you're not going to check every single day, 5 times a day, to see if there's any signs of life, okay? Again, a watched pot, it never boils, right? So you want to, if you can, detach enough where give that manifestation some wiggle room, okay? So tactic number 1, okay, which I probably said already a few times in this video already, is to stop checking. Okay, stop checking. And I know it's easier said than done, but stop checking that phone, stop checking those emails, stop checking the calendar, stop checking the clock, and try to stay in alignment as much as you possibly can, because the version of yourself that has the manifestation where it's already been knocked out of the ballpark is not continuously checking, because they know, right? That Amazon package that they ordered, they know it's on the way. Even if it's running late, it's gonna come, okay? So you might need to, if you are someone who just continuously check, find positive ways to occupy your time, okay? Also, it's really good when you're manifesting is just to be in a state of joy as much as you possibly can. Because again, if your vibrations are really low, if you're really low vibrational, where you're feeling just really like cruddy, really like low, or speaking real, in ways that are real like low, you're going to attract more of that, right? You're going to attract more of that into your bubble, more, low vibrational energy into your bubble. You're going to attract low vibrational circumstances into your bubble. So you want to raise those vibes as much as you possibly can, right? Do things that bring you joy. Turn on a movie that makes you laugh, okay? Get outside, take a walk, right? Do something, even if it's no more than 15, 20 minutes of something that you enjoy doing that could actually take your mind off of the continuous check, okay? Number 2, what you can do is to find, and it already rolls out from number 1, which is find ways to live in fulfillment right now. Okay, small things. Find joy and peace in your present state as much as possible, right? Live in that dream fulfilled. Let's just say your manifestation goal is to get that certain job. Well, what would you do if you got that job? Would you be someone, how would you act? How would you speak? How would you talk? Are you waiting to get that haircut? Are you waiting to start working out? Are you waiting to start dressing a little bit more professional before, do it now. Start living. Find little small ways to find fulfillment, joy in your present state. Live in the end, okay? If you are someone who has been stressing out about whatever, it could be bills not being paid, whatever, and you've been up because you've been so stressed out, be the version as much as you can that has it already. Try to get more sleep. Easier said than done, but I don't care if you have to do stretches before bedtime, drink tea, try to get more sleep, because the version of yourself that has it would be able to sleep, right? They would be able, try to be as much in alignment as possible. Last thing, you guys, technique 3 is not really necessarily anything for you to put into practice. But it's more so for something for you to remind yourself of, that you have to really believe in the unseen. Believe in that bridge. You have to have faith that even if you cannot see that bridge being built, right? You could only think of maybe 1 to 2 ways to get from point A to your desired goal. Know that the universe has an infinite number of ways to bring you your desires, your dreams. And you have to believe that even at right now, as you are watching this video, that the universe is working diligently on your behalf. The universe is conspiring in your favor to bring you your manifestation. Any door that appears to be shut, one that is more abundant, more prosperous, more joyous, is already being built, is already available in its place for you to walk through. Okay. And the universe is already conspiring, making it possible for you to be able to walk through that door, even if you cannot see it yet. Okay. You have to trust and believe that things are working out, right? Maybe, as I mentioned before, certain people may have to exit your life for new people to be ushered in. Maybe you may need to leave a certain job to get a higher position, or maybe you may need to make that pivot in order for that creative project to take off. And you have to trust and know that every minute, every second, that's being worked out for you. Okay. So hopefully those 3 techniques, tactics will help you just to detach just a bit more from your manifestation. Like I say, anytime that we are, too attached to the constraints of time, right? Wanting to force things to happen by certain dates, we're actually repelling and pushing our manifestations further from us, right? Because we're out of alignment with our actual end goal, okay, of what we want. So as much as you can, you guys try to detach from time. I hope that those tactics are helpful and useful. If you guys found this video to be helpful, please do give it a big old thumbs up. And anyone that that may need to watch this video, that this may be actually helpful to, please do share the video. You guys leave lots of comments down below. I always say that a comment that you leave might be perfect divine timing. Someone else may need to hear it right at that time. Super helpful to them. So leave lots of comments, you guys. We are growing out here. Don't forget to hit that subscribe. I love you guys, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.